Hey, this is Kevin. I want to invite you to join me and friends around the world for an international live broadcast. At 10 a.m. on Friday, May the 7th, I'm going to be sharing a powerful word from God's Word entitled, Get to the Point. I am excited about this message. I can't wait to share it with you. Join us via Facebook Live, YouTube, or Zoom. Go to kevinwhite.us for full details. I'll see you there.
Get ready to celebrate God's call to go. Here's your weekly dose of heartwarming encouragement for the missionary in all of us. Welcome to Missions Change My Life. Now here's your host, Pastor Kevin.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Missions Change My Life. We're finishing up the month of April here. Kourtney, did you know that 116 different countries listen to Missions Change My Life?
Last I checked, we were at 115, so that's a whole nother country to
Yes, welcome.
Awesome.
We want to welcome everyone from the United States, India, Pakistan, Philippines, Taiwan,
Uganda, going all the way to Africa, South America, North America. Let's just go by continent at this point.
Yeah, everyone in Asia, North America, Europe,
Africa,
maybe
Antarctica,
Russia,
maybe the penguins,
China, Japan, Singapore. Yes, we just welcome everyone. Thank you for listening to the show. If you're not watching, you maybe are just listening to the audio. I encourage you to go over to YouTube and see the friendly faces behind these voices. I'm Pastor Kevin. Right here in the middle is Justin. And over to our right is Kourtney.
Yes, hello.
Yes, and we make up part of the U.S. staff for Global Hope India. And we're so thankful to get to do what we do.
Which is changing now. We are now introducing our topic today, which is
virtual mission teams to India.
But we're in America.
Yeah.
And we get to minister in India.
Yeah.
So how are we doing this? What does it look like?
Yeah. The last 10 years, we've actually been facilitating short-term mission teams over to India. We've taken 1,000 people over to India, and we're grateful for that opportunity. And we are going to go back to India.
Oh, yes.
Travel will resume. And we will be able to go over and minister side by side with our partner churches there throughout the beautiful country of India. It's been over a year since anyone with Global Hope India's land on the soil of India and been able to serve there. But we've been very active by the grace of God. This happened in 2020 and 2021 when there's Wi-Fi and internet and Zoom and phone and lots of opportunity to stay connected, even though we can't be in the same room together.
Yeah.
But we don't really know when travel is going to resume. That's just the reality of life. The COVID-19 is spreading rapidly throughout India right now. They actually had one of the highest Monday recordings in April, 100,000 positive tests in the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why
And
in India.
they're averaging 3 million vaccines per day, which is great, except India is 4 times the population of the USA.
Yeah.
And so the USA is really leading the world in vaccinations, and India is far, far, far behind. So we're praying for that. We know that India is not alone in countries without access to the vaccine at the moment. And so we are praying over that. But eventually, maybe 2021, possibly 2022, travel will resume and we will go back, and can't wait for that to happen. But we don't have to wait until then.
Nope.
Because we're going virtual.
Yes, we are. This is the year of connection.
I just really want to encourage you to have an open heart and an open mind right now, because to a lot of working professionals in the USA, virtual does not sound like a good word at the moment. We're tired of Zoom.
Yes.
We're tired of virtual meetings. We're tired of stay at home. If you haven't seen in the news lately, America is drastically wanting to get out. People are buying RVs in record numbers. They're traveling out west. People from the east are going out west, and people out west are coming to the east, probably to Myrtle Beach and other places. Florida is inundated with tourists and lots of vacationers. People are really wanting to travel because they're tired of Zoom. Zoom. And I know that we're going to be talking about a project that really opens up missions using Zoom. And so be open-minded to that. We're not talking about 40-hour work week.
Yeah. No, not that at all. Or having to travel thousands and thousands of miles for 24 hours on end with no bed in sight.
Yeah.
We're talking about doing it in your bedroom if you want.
Yeah.
In your living room.
So let's talk about what we are replacing. Kourtney, just remind us, what did $3,000 used to do for a traveler over to India?
$3,000 would get one teammate to India for a 10-day trip, round trip, from the time you leave to the time you get back. All ministry expenses included, which really is not the bulk of your money. The bulk of that $3,000 was travel. I mean, you're going halfway across the country. Mike on the last podcast said if you go further, you're going to start coming back. So a lot of it is just travel. And so now that $3,000, which Kevin is going to share, will go to so much more. So we're really excited about the possibilities.
But I just think about the packing that was involved. When someone goes on an international mission trip over to India, there is so much focus on just what to pack, what to take, what you can't take, what you can take. And there's just a lot of hours upon hours of just getting ready to go over to India, packing, preparing your luggage, getting immunizations for that, and medicine and different things to just stay safe and have everything that you need for your trip. But now, because we're going virtual, there's no packing required. Yeah. That's good news.
Yeah. And I mean, it opens the doors for so many people that never thought that they would be able to, or may not, or may know that they cannot travel. Now we have so many opportunities for people that have health concerns or have small children that they're just not ready to leave yet. There's just so many, and opportunities for families to get involved as a family unit, you know, instead of the parents being missionaries or going overseas for 10 days out of their year. They get to bring it into their homes. And so it's just, we're really excited.
It really does have a lot of benefits. When we take a person over to India, that person physically gets on a plane, they fly over 24 hours and they touch down on the soil of India. They leave all of their loved ones behind. And they do try to stay in touch along the way, especially the younger they are, the more sensitive parents are and loved ones are. If they're married, their spouse definitely wants to stay in touch. If they're a parent, their children want to stay in touch. And we value that and we're grateful for that, but that's still limited in that exposure to the loved ones. But when we go virtual, a participant on a virtual team is allowed to bring all of their loved ones with them into that Zoom call with them. So when we talk about Zoom call, I want you to understand we're talking about a private call that only our partner and our team members actually have access to. But then there are participants, and Kourtney's going to talk to us in just a moment about how to become a participant. So let's say that there's 4 or 5 participants that actually share the program and facilitate the project through Zoom. But then there's observers, and that's everybody, anyone that is able to come in by that team's invitation only into that Zoom meeting room and to observe. And we are so thankful for that opportunity, because if we've taken 1,000 people in the last 10 years, this has the potential that we could expose 100,000 people in the next 10 years to God's work over in India. And that's an answer to my personal prayer. The very first time I went to India in 1998, I prayed, Lord, let me bring all 3 of my children to see your work in India. Kourtney is one of my 3 children, and God certainly answered that prayer, but it's all been about exposure. And we are so grateful for that opportunity to expose people to missions. We have had 3 pillars for Global Hope India. We call people to pray for God's work in India, to give to God's work in India, and to go. And we find that by getting people to go is the greatest catalyst for how they pray and how they give differently to God's work. And so, yes, there's benefits, and we will always go physically, but there's benefits to even going virtually, because you're able to meet our partners on a way. You're able to really be able to focus in on the ministry, evangelism, outreach aspect without the spicy food, without the dust, without the heat and humidity. There's a lot of things that you're going to miss, but some of those are things that are are really they really keep people from being able to go physically. As Kourtney just shared, there are people who love missions and they love Jesus, but they cannot physically, their bodies and their health will not allow them to get on a plane, and they just cannot go. And this is an opportunity for anyone with a smartphone or a laptop, a desktop, to be able to join an international mission team over to India.
All of a sudden, unexpectedly, God started blessing our family. We just kept building. God multiplied.
It's a miracle that God provided us many times when we needed it the most.
What's your generosity story? Check out some heartwarming stories at generosityofgod.com and share your story. You'll find amazing stories.
He said, "Hey, this is for you," and asked me to take what was in his hands. It was exactly 10,000 rupees. I was so overwhelmed and shocked by God's goodness.
As she did that, Paige went on out to her vehicle, loaded it in the trunk of her car, and she said, "Okay, God, what now?"
Miraculous stories by ordinary people just like you. Go to generosityofgod.com and share your story today.
How do you swallow an elephant? Well, the answer is one bite at a time. Hi, I'm Kevin White, and I'm inviting you to subscribe to Generously Blessed, my free 1-minute motivation series. In Romans 12, verse 2, God says we are transformed as we change our minds. When you subscribe to Generously Blessed, I will send you a personal email Monday through Friday and coach you day by day into a life generously blessed by God. Go to kevinwhite.us and subscribe now. It will be 1 minute a day you'll not regret. I guarantee it.
Kevin's new book, Audacious Generosity, was an instant international bestseller on Amazon. Audacious Generosity is now available worldwide on Amazon in paperback, hardback, ebook and audiobook. You'll find the Audacious Generosity ebook on Apple Books, Kindle, Google Play, and all the popular online ebook stores. The Audacious Generosity audiobook was recorded by Kevin himself, and reviewers are loving it. The audiobook can be found online in over 40 audiobook stores worldwide, including Audible, Apple, Google, and more. Buy Audacious Generosity for yourself. Gift it to your family and friends for the holidays. Discover why Audacious Generosity was an instant bestseller. Audacious Generosity is all about you enjoying a living relationship with God that's fueled by courage, characterized by freedom, and overflowing with audacious generosity. Get your copy today.
Justin is here. He's our international travel manager. How much travel have you been managing over the last year?
Over the last year, I couldn't count. It's like more than hundreds.
The distance from the front door to the mailbox and back.
Yeah, there's been no international travel for you to manage, but you've been very busy on our podcast and transferring funds over to India and a lot of different things for Global Hope India. But I want you just to share with the audience just for a moment. Last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, we were able to, for the first time ever in the history of Global Hope India, help one of our partners have a brand new Apple iPad.
Right.
What's the benefit on Pastor Bernard Shaw when GHI empowers him with an Apple iPad to go virtual?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a life-changing. I had an experience before. I had like Apple phone or Apple iPad. It was like so hard. Even if you can able to get the let's say the SIM card for the including the Wi-Fi, and then there's a 4GB and 5GB, 3GB. But for the phone, some of the technology that they can't able to support it. So it's so slow. Even if you try to FaceTime, it's all the time pixelated. You can't able to talk about it. So it just totally.
So what I'm hearing is like a ministry is going from having a flip phone to now having the capabilities of a smartphone, which I think we can relate to. I mean, there's 8-year-olds that want that capacity in America and are grateful to it, but this is a ministry.
Yeah.
This is an entire church that's now connected.
Right.
Yeah. This is not about the Apple Corporation,
Right.
whether you're Mac or whether you're Android, but it's about capacity and capability. And we were able to empower a group of churches in Chennai, India, with an Apple iPad. Right. And what that allowed them to do, the technology allows them to put in a SIM card right into the iPad. So they don't have to think about the Wi-Fi in the room, how close to the internet they can get. The internet literally through that SIM card goes right into the iPad. And that changed everything, because even the best experience that our pastors have, most of them, if they are even able to have a smartphone, it is at times whether or not they have Wi-Fi to be able to utilize the data on that phone. Justin, the average Indian does not necessarily have 4G on their SIM. Talk about that. You remember the days where it's not uncommon to re-top someone's SIM card with 100 rupees. 100 rupees would be less than $1.50. And that would give them the capacity to call and to text. But whenever it came to the internet, they might be able to log into Facebook, but they certainly are not going to be able to surf for very long on $1.50. And so you have to have a certain level of financial ability to then get up to a 4G status.
Of course.
Tell us that difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference. So if you buy for 100 rupees for 1 GB, that it will last only for like 2 hours.
Wow.
Like 2 hours. And then after once it passes 2 hours, it's become so slow you cannot able to use it again. So you have to buy for that. You have to buy a more GB, so it's gonna cost more. And then because most of the the people in India, they can't able to afford like the higher GB. And for this partner, for Pastor Bernardo, for 4 GB for the Apple iPad, it's a life changing for that.
Wow.
Because we can able to talk, and it's so clean, and the 4 GB is so fast, much faster, and as well as like you can see clearly on the screen. And so that's a huge difference. And then I'm so happy, I'm so excited for the Pastor Bernard show. And many pastors will be able to have the same equipment and technology that he has.
Yeah. So we not only gave Pastor Bernard Shaw and the church in Chennai a iPad, but we gave them the funding to be able to get the SIM card loaded up with unlimited 4G internet for 1 month. It's like $100 US. It's not necessarily cheap, but it is something that the vast majority of Indians they don't have the opportunity to have that. A working professional in India certainly would, but not someone in ministry. And so we're just incredibly blessed with the donors that allowed Global Hope India to empower Pastor Bernard Shaw in that way. But last week, drum roll please, are you ready? Last week, we hosted our very first ever virtual mission team to Chennai, India.
Yes, we did.
Yes. And so I want to just share with you, I was on those calls with one of our trip alumni. Big shout out to Marta. She is now a freshman at Clemson University, and she found out about this opportunity. Absolutely, go Tigers.
Whoop, whoop.
She found out about this opportunity in the middle of being 3 weeks away from the end of her semester.
Yeah.
And she said, I've got to do it.
Yep.
And I'll stay up all night if that's what it takes. She was hoping to be able to go to India last summer, and all of our trips were canceled last summer. And so this was a breath of fresh air to her in the midst of a very busy academic year at Clemson University. But she jumped in 2 weeks before the trip. She jumped in and began recruiting classmates and different ones. And Marta was able to introduce herself to 3 different groups of churches over in India, share her testimony, share a Bible story with the children, have interaction with the children in 3 different settings. And to hear the children share their testimony, she was able to pray with the children. And it was just phenomenal. We're actually showing you clips of Marta and that team when they were able to share. So if you're over on YouTube, you're seeing these clips of the Zoom call that actually happened last week as a result of Global Hope India hosting these virtual mission teams over. And we're so thankful for Pastor Bernard Shaw and Victoria and the team there in Chennai for partnering with us. And of course, they are so grateful to Global Hope India. I share that with our staff, and I share that with the board, and I share that with the donors. But you should know that if you've ever prayed for India, they're grateful for you. If you've ever given a penny to Global Hope India, they're grateful to you. What just happened is they were given access to the World Wide Web. They were given access to the world, and they see the potential of God using what he's already doing in India and exposing it to hundreds of people, thousands of people through this one iPad, through this SIM card. And they're hosting VBS projects all throughout the month of April and now into the month of May. And we're very excited about these opportunities. Kourtney's now going to share with us. We're going to continue to just play some of the film. If you're watching there on YouTube, we want you to see the impact of the virtual mission teams. But Kourtney, tell us about these opportunities. Walk us through a person that maybe they've been on a trip, maybe they've never even heard of Global Hope India. How do they get involved? What does that look like?
Yeah. So before I go into the logistics of the Go page and how you can get connected, I want to share a little bit about the why. Why does an American need to get on the virtual mission team? What does Pastor B or our other partners, why do they need me on a wall? Projected, basically what your Zoom is a projected call on a church wall. But sometimes that church wall is half-built shed in a tribal village. And I mean, imagine sometimes whenever I go to a shopping mall, I see the floor, just the holographic tiles that they have. And I feel like a kid, like trying to step on the lights. But that same feeling, this entire tribe or village is experiencing. And so I would say it's a kind of give and take relationship that we get to experience as a participant or a captain with our partners, is that we are encouraging and empowering their ministry by equipping them with the resources, the equipment that we've shared about, but we're also drawing a crowd, having Americans on the wall, having people that are giving their time. Indians value that. They value that you're spending your time, even if you're in your office, which they're probably just getting to look at your house too. Right. But the parents are showing up, the grandparents, the teachers, they're all crowding in and saying, what is that? And what are they doing? They're hearing the gospel because everything's being translated into their language. So that's helping the partner. But then as a participant, to get to see the work that's going on in India that you probably don't know about or can try and imagine, can try and picture from a movie. But if you haven't been, you don't understand like the power that God is of his work in India. I mean, he's working, he's been working in 2020, 2021 is no different. So we're just inviting you to come and see that. We got to take you to India before, and the thousands of people that have gone can attest to that. I mean, that's what this podcast is about, is people sharing their story. And so we hope that more people will have access like we've shared. We have a blind and deaf or a deaf ministry that there's just a lot of connections for people with ASL can now minister to. And so the possibilities are endless. But what does it look like? If you're listening now and you're just praying about it, first of all, like Kevin said, put your yes on the table, put it on the altar, go to the Go page and just start looking, just see what some of the teams are. We try and keep it as up to date as we can, but right now at this point, we just need to know your availability as Kevin said, especially with Pastor B and some of our pastors that are in tribal areas. COVID hasn't shut them down. So we do have access to even the most unreached people group, which is only a God thing. So you're going to go to globalhopeindia.org/go, G-O, and that is our Go page, as we've been referring to. And you will see the different teams. There's team 201, 203. We've kind of just numbered them because we are praying and just expecting there to be a lot of teams. And so instead of thinking of colors or animals, we just went with numbers because it's infinite. And so we're excited for those numbers to just flow. Like I said, there are some teams posted, and you can go through and see some of the frequently asked questions about teams are on there. We've tried to give as much information up front, and we'll continue to post pictures and videos like what you're seeing, just so that everyone can get an idea. But what you'll do is you'll fill out an application, and that just helps us get to know you a little bit. Obviously, if you're listening and I haven't met you, I would love to get to know you and make sure that we get you on the right team. And if it's your whole family, you could be a team. And so I will begin the conversation with you. So you'll fill out the application. It's a $30 application fee. That's just to make sure that you are committed and that you're serious. But that $30 goes directly to your team budget. So a team budget is $3,000. And one thing that I don't think we've hit on super hard is that $3,000, which would have gone to individually getting one person to India, that's the entire team budget. And right now, the teams, like what the team to Chennai just did, is helped to empower with the equipment. They empowered the partners with the equipment that's necessary to go virtual. After that, thousands of dollars can go a long way in India. So we could have teams that are donating or funding wells and funding water projects, or building schools, or building a bathroom in a school in Manipur, or just adding and meeting physical needs, but then having the opportunity to relay that spiritual message of Jesus is going to meet our need.
I just want to encourage everyone listening, do not focus on the financial, because you might allow, if you're not careful, the enemy to whisper, why is it going to cost $3,000 for you to do a Zoom call? It doesn't cost that kind of money to do a Zoom call. It's not about the Zoom call. But you need to understand, last week, we did the virtual mission team in Chennai, India. This weekend, hundreds of people watched a gospel film by the Chennai team, because last week they were given the iPad, the screen, the projector, what they needed. And so that's not collecting dust. It's immediately being used. And that's what the $3,000 went for. And $3,000 covers 650 Bibles. There's a billion people in India that have never, ever had the luxury to hold God's word in their hand. And $3,000 covers 650 Bibles. And so this is not about getting money out of your pocket in order for you to go on a virtual mission team. Yes, we do collect a $30 application fee. That just helps us to know that you're serious, that you're going to honor your yes and follow through with that. But it also helps you to contribute to the team fund. All of that goes into the team fund. And then everyone on the team, from participants to observers, help collect the $3,000. Now, we expect teams will go way beyond $3,000, some of them, but that's a minimum. And every $3,000 for a team makes a dramatic investment into the spread of the gospel. And that's what GHI is about.
We're bringing access to the gospel.
And
so, and I mean, just think in America in the past year, many churches didn't thrive in the pandemic because there was no access to internet or technology, or they weren't set up virtually. We see that with a lot of small churches, and it's unfortunate, but that's the reality for majority of churches in India. And there are people that are quarantined in their home in India, and it's closing down. So a lot of these virtual mission teams have the capacity to meet those people, just like churches in America are trying. So we're not doing anything super crazy. We're just inviting you to see what's already happening in a really cool capacity. So another thing that I do want to make sure to ask is, will you be a team captain? If you're listening and you've been to India, that's a no-brainer, because you're probably already wondering, how can I get my friends and family connected? But even if not, I mean, a team captain may sound a little scary, but Marta was an amazing example. I wish I could send everyone her way. I mean, it seems like it's a lot, but it really isn't. You're hosting the Zoom call, kind of just making sure all the ducks are in a row, but we're here to help. We're not just going to throw you to the wolves, but a team captain will help. Once a team captain's established, here's a secret: other people will then join, because group think is, well, no one's doing it, so I'm not going to do it. So if you are bold enough to just say, God, if I'm a team captain, then make it happen, email me at Kourtney@globalhopeindia.org, and we'll talk about it. And it won't be scary. I'm going to be there. We'll be there. And it's just going to be a really awesome thing. And yeah, there's the capacity to have your family host a Zoom call every month. It doesn't have to be a one and done thing. I got to lead, just as part of this past mission team to Chennai, I got to lead a prayer time with teachers, and it was a last minute thing, but It was probably no more than 15 to 20 minutes, and it was translated, but it was just a really sweet time with many of the women were my age, unexpected, but just getting to encourage them. I mean, that 15 minutes just made my day. And so it's not like, I mean, it's some way you may think, oh, well, I should get paid to be on a Zoom call for them, but no way, Jose, you are getting more than you're giving.
Yeah. Let's just talk through the actual program. Let's say that you do apply, you're a team captain or you're a participant, you're an observer, and you're now watching Zoom. And so, Justin, let's have another drum roll. When is daytime in India compared to daytime in the US? And when our sun goes up, their sun goes down. So it's opposite.
Like we said, halfway across the world. So literally 10 hours during daylight savings time difference.
Yeah. So don't get angry at us, okay? Listen. I want Kourtney to quickly get to our peak times. But yeah, we are talking about the program time being between midnight and 10 a.m. because that is their daytime for them. But we're not asking you to stay up all night. Now, there will be some teams who that is not a difficult thing for them, and they will. So we're asking for 3 days back to back, or we could take your investment and it could be spread out through 5 days, but it's not. It's only in like 2-hour segments. Okay, Kourtney, what are the peak times?
So the peak times in India for ministry time are evening if they're going into the villages, or morning for like staff devotions or pastors meetings. So 5 to 8 p.m. in India is 7:30 to 11-ish a.m. here. That's a lot like what the Chennai team looked like, was just early mornings. So that's not bad. I mean, what a way to start your morning, getting to minister and worship with people in India. And then the other would be their morning time, like I mentioned, which is around 11 p.m. That's the midnight to around 2:30 a.m. So late bedtime.
For us. And that's in the Eastern United States.
Yes.
Obviously, if you're in Central Time or
in another
Pacific Time or in a different country, time zones can be figured out. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out time zones. But the point is, we're not even asking for 8 hours. You're not going to be on a Zoom call endlessly for 8 hours. We're talking about 2 hours here, maybe before you go to sleep, and then 2 hours maybe when you wake up. Or it could be just 2 hours. If let's say that you're a night owl and you staying up to 2 a.m. is not a problem, but then you getting up at 7 is a problem. Well, then give us your night owl times, and we will utilize those for missions. Or give us, let's say that you're early bird, give us those times and we'll utilize those for missions. So you tell us when you are available, and our programs are 3 days in a row, but we can accommodate whatever schedule. And like Marta is already hooked, and she's going to be on Zoom calls even throughout the month of May. And her team was back in April, but she has what she can do. She understands what God has put into her hands and the opportunity to give that as a blessing to the church partner there in Chennai. Now, some of our partners have been on hold. Justin, talk about just COVID-19 and the spread in India. During the month of April, unfortunately, it was not good news.
Right now in India, they call it the second wave COVID. It started the shutting down. So most of the offices and even the mall and shopping mall, they are closing down. That is in Hyderabad and even in Mumbai. So that's a big city. Even in Delhi, soon it's going to be shutting down.
What happened as a result of that is our partners in Hyderabad said, we're dealing with COVID right now. We can't really start the virtual mission teams. They wanted to, but they put them on hold until June. So is our partner in Mumbai. Absolutely thrilled about the virtual mission team opportunity, but is dealing with the reality of life right now with COVID-19. And so they have put them on hold. But we envision, as we do get into the summer months, this is just going to explode. The opportunity, the need and opportunity for the gospel in the month of May, in the month of June, July, August, you keep going into 2021, and the opportunity is just going to explode. And we are going to outfit more partners in India with more iPads, with more SIM cards, with more screens, more projectors. And so we need the body of Christ to rise up and to go to their brothers and sisters in need. The Bible says if you have a coat and someone needs a coat, then share with them. And it's all about sharing. And what we're asking you to share is your time. Yeah. Do you have peak time for India? That would be like 7:30 to 10:30 a.m. Or do you have peak time from like 11:30 to 2:30 evening and a.m.? Do you have 2 hours at a block of 2 hours that you could give 2 or 3, 4 times a month? And what has God given you? Is it your testimony? Everyone listening has a testimony that they can share. You can pray with people. You can introduce yourself. You would be so blessed to get to know friends in India, and they would be blessed to get to know you. And so part of your ministry is just introducing yourself as a friend of the gospel to people in India, and then sharing your testimony. Can you share points out of a scripture, a Bible story? We give you the topic, the theme. We don't leave you lost. No one's going to be putting a mic to your face and saying, now you got to preach the gospel for 45 minutes. There's not going to be anything that you don't agree to in advance that you're going to be invited to actually do on the Zoom call.
Right. Yeah. And like we've said before, if you can't attend every meeting on the schedule, that shouldn't deter you from saying yes to going. Even saying, hey, Kourtney, Kevin, Justin, GHI, I'm interested. I don't know my exact dates, but let me know whenever you have teams and I'll try and log on, even if it's in the capacity of a participant or someone that wants to say, you know what, I have the funds. I may not have the time in April, but can I sponsor a team? That's huge. So there are so many ways that we are going to invite you continuously to pray, give, and go. And this is just a really exciting, practical way to get connected to what God's doing across the world.
The opportunities are endless. If it can be done effectively via Zoom, then it is now an available opportunity for international missions. You can teach a cooking class and have a presence to the gospel among Muslim and Hindu women. You can teach children's ministry leaders in India about children's ministry. You can lead worship from the comfort of your own home via Zoom. You don't have to be an evangelist. You don't have to be a worship leader to have a presence. Kourtney has talked about our partnership with a deaf ministry in India. And if you know America Sign Language, you can have opportunity from the comfort of your own home to minister to children that desperately need your friendship and the gospel that you've been entrusted with.
Representation, where you may not have thought of going on a mission trip overseas, and it's just really exciting.
Some of you are consultants, you're engineers, and you may not think of how can I actually be useful for 4 hours of Zoom call. Tell us what you can consult with. Like we have pastors in India that are developing pig businesses, pig farms, apple orchards, coffee plantations, cake decorating,
bakeries, and small businesses, entrepreneurs that, I mean, an hour of your time. Wow. Wow.
So what has God put in your hand, and will you make that available to Global Hope India? Email Kourtney at kourtney@globalhopeindia.org. Fill out the form. Go to the Go page. Look over the opportunities. They're going to increase as we go throughout the year. But I'm asking you, will you commit to 3 days of your time in 2021, whether they are back to back or 1 day in April, 1 day in May, 1 day in June? Will you, between now and December 31st, 2021, will you give 3 days to the Lord Jesus through missions with Global Hope India? Can't wait to see you all back here next week on Missions Changed My Life. God bless you all.
I look forward to talking to you.
Yes.
Be blessed. Have a great day.
This episode is complete, so head over to globalhopeindia.org for show notes, resources, and opportunities to go to India through GHI. Continue to be radically transformed by God as you live out the Great Commission, and we'll see you again next week here at Missions Change My Life.